Alright, what up dudes? This is Killswitch Queen here, and today I wanted to make a video series on how to get started on a project motorcycle. Ever since I started doing all the project stuff with Mad Max and out all of my bikes, I've been getting a lot of comments and messages and stuff of either people who are inspired to make their own project bike or people who are working on their own project bike, which is really awesome. It's really awesome to hear those comments. So I wanted to make a short series for those of you who maybe have never worked on a motorcycle before and you're thinking about starting your own project. I know in a lot of places right now it's snowing, so you guys are tucking away your motorcycles. This will give you an opportunity to think about, you know what, I got some extra cash, maybe I want to work on a motorcycle. Also give yourself a little bit more skill set, bettering yourself mechanically. However, starting a project bike has nothing to do with the bike. Don't even think about the motorcycle. I know the motorcycle is the most exciting part, but the most important part that you need to think about is actually the budget. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to set your budget, how to decide how much you want to spend, because that ultimately is going to decide whether or not you're ever going to get this project started or finished. Tip number one is to decide your goal. What is your goal with the bike that you want to do? Are you going to be riding it? Do you want to restore it to a mostly original condition? Do you want to do like I do and make it a rat bike? All of these things will help you to determine and set how much you want to invest into the bike. Depending on the bike you get and what the level it's at, it's going to also determine just how much you're going to need to buy. You may buy a project bike that doesn't have a tank or doesn't have a seat. Those are things that you need to consider working into your budget. Next would be if there's a motorcycle that you already have in mind, there's a particular bike that you like, then do some research. Forums can provide a wealth of knowledge on your particular bike, what are the common issues, and then how to fix them. With this information in mind, you can build your list of potential investments and then decide if that's something that you want to work on. Sourcing and pricing of the parts that you would need for this bike is also my biggest category. For your very first project bike, I would lean towards bikes that parts are abundant and really easy to find, rather than very rare and very expensive. Then be totally honest with yourself. How much are you willing to spend? If you see a motorcycle for sale for $500, you can easily expect double that just for the basic maintenance to get it back on the road. You have to consider, why is this motorcycle under $1,000? You usually see these types of bike advertised as they're trying to make room or that they don't want to work on it anymore. Maybe the bike's been sitting for a year or 10 years and there might not be any indication that it runs. These are the bikes that are a gamble. If you buy a project bike that isn't running, be prepared to dig a little bit deeper into your pockets. The example I'd love to give you guys is the Bandit. I bought this bike for $700, knowing very well that I could have just been throwing away $700. This bike wasn't running when I got it. I couldn't even turn the key in the ignition, but that was something I prepared myself for. And I knew if that the engine was no good and that the motor wasn't gonna turn over, then I just would have been out of luck and I would have had a lot more work to do. My next point is title and registration. Depending on what state you live in, you might have to jump through some hoops to get a new title if the title is missing, or you may have a lot of back fees if a motorcycle has been left unregistered. This is another common reason that motorcycles are sold so cheaply, so do beware. Unless you're DMV savvy, save yourself the headache, look for a bike that has a clean title and up-to-date or non-op registration. In your budget, don't forget to allow for title transfer fees and the cost of insurance. Now, once you have this bike and then once you've invested the initial to get it running, you're gonna have to work out the kinks. Once you get a motorcycle started and it's, the engine sounds okay, this is usually when things can and will rear their ugly heads. Remember that the gaskets and the rubber parts on a motorcycle are as old as the motorcycle itself, usually. If your bike is more than 10 years old, you can expect some gaskets and some seals to start seeping and oil leaking. It's just really common. The importance of setting a realistic budget lets you focus on the satisfaction that fixing your own motorcycle brings. Financially preparing for a motorcycle project allows you creative freedom and peace of mind. So thanks for watching. This has been part one and things to consider on setting your budget. In part two, I'm going to cover what to look for in a project bike and then how to choose the right project bike for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and there's any other tips or things that you want to add below for other people who are thinking about starting a project motorcycle, please leave them in the comments. If you yourself are thinking about starting your own project motorcycle, I hope that this motivates you and inspires you a little bit and lets you set a really clear outline for yourself to get started on a project bike.